Hi, my name is Dan from UFC.
My name is Luis, also from EFC.
Awesome, and today we're going to talk about what does an executive functions coach actually do. So Luis, what do you do for a living? What do you actually do, man?
Well, what an EF coach does, of which I am one, is to take a client, whether it's a child, adolescent, high schooler, or an adult, and identify their executive function challenges with them. And usually it's going to be the student, the client coming to us first and saying, here's what I'm worried about. Then we look into that, we figure out what's going on, and then we help our client come up with strategies to deal with whatever those particular challenges are. And it's a combination of short term, this is how you manage to turn your homework in on time every day, and longer term, these are habits that are going to be good for any time sensitive situation. So this is the sort of thing we do. It's a matter of meeting, getting to know a person, getting to know what their particular concerns and issues are, and then working individually, and this is really important, working individually with each client to figure out exactly what to do with them. There are no one-size-fits-all answers here. There are common things and things that we do with most of our clients, but nothing applies, no one thing applies to everything.
Awesome. So, and when we're working with adults, we're more working with them on specific goals that they want to set either in their personal life or their career or etc. And a lot of the times they will come to us kind of with the main complaint being, I'm overly anxious and I'm very unproductive. And it's causing me to be late for deadlines, or it's causing me to not follow up with relationships, etc. And those are kind of just the grown-up effects that they probably experienced as a kid. And we oftentimes, when we talk with adults, we also ask them, well, did you experience similar things as a student, as a college student, or as a high schooler, or even a middle schooler? And oftentimes, they will say similar things as a lot of our high schoolers. So these issues that they have and these challenges that they have, oftentimes when they're not dealt with and strategies are not put in place, they definitely transcend onto adulthood as well. So fantastic. So what does a typical session of a executive function coaching session look like?
All right, there are two basic kinds of sessions that we'll do. The first one is sort of a planning strategy session. And usually I like to do them toward the beginning of a person's week. So you can sort of lay out what are our goals and what are our plans and what steps will we take over the course of the week to meet the goals. And the reason I like to do them on like a Monday or a Tuesday is because by that point you know what your week is going to look like in terms of your goals and your deadlines. But it doesn't have to be that way. So those sessions usually run about an hour because we're kind of really digging in. And with a lot of our students, at least at first, it's like, okay, what's happening there? Well, shouldn't you put that on the calendar? Yes. And then we wait while they put it on the calendar. We may even make suggestions on what specifically to put on the calendar so it's an effective reminder as opposed to just say math, all right? To be more specific to help them accomplish their goals. Now there is a second kind of session that we do, and we refer to those as check-in sessions. And they're pretty much just what they sound like. For about 15 minutes, what we do is we ask students, how is it going? And we know what they're supposed to be doing. And we ask, did that happen? That's fantastic if it happened. Did it not happen? What went wrong? And that's a key thing. And I know we're talking about this a little bit more later, but it's never going to be a negative feedback. It's going to be something like, okay, that didn't happen. What went wrong? What do we change? We have to acknowledge that something didn't go like we planned, but not to make a person feel bad about it. That's a little sidetrack, but as I said, the check-in is just to make sure that they're following on task and also that they feel accountable to someone. Someone out there is going to ask that question, did that get done?
Awesome, fantastic. And just to kind of add on to that is that during the strategy sessions, it's really meant to also take big projects, big assignments, big goals, and break them down into sizable chunks that we can then insert into each day of the week and help our students or our adults set goals for each day of the week that will ultimately help them accomplish the big goal that they have at the end of the week. So that's really important because oftentimes a lot of the reasons why goals and assignments, etc., are unaccomplishable for some of our students and our adults is because it's really overwhelming. It's very frustrating, and they don't necessarily know how to get from point A, which is, well, I got to start, to point B, which is, oh, I finally finished. They don't really know each of those steps. They just know they got to start on this and they got to finish it by Friday. Well, how do you actually get that accomplished? And that's what really those strategy sessions are for. And that's pretty normal of an executive function session if any of you guys have ever been to one. But I think what's very unique about EFC's check-in sessions is the accountability factor. A lot of our kids and a lot of our adults have a hard time sticking to the plan and being accountable to that plan. And our check-in sessions are really meant to help them keep accountable to their plan so that they feel accomplished at the end of the week, or they feel like, oh, I didn't really accomplish it. And that's also what the check-ins are for as well, is to figure out, well, what really went wrong or what really can be improved on so that, on Friday or by next week, this goal can be accomplished.
Let me add one thing here. In addition, the check-ins are very, very helpful in adjusting on the fly to things. Because in a perfect world, yeah, Monday night, you know your entire week and you just chug along through the week. But that's not the way it works. So if we wind up doing a check-in and a student is suddenly, oh my gosh, I got this thing dropped on me, or I forgot about it, or whatever, then it is a time to help that student calm down, because they're in a panic, and I shouldn't say usually, often in a panic, but to calm down, let's look at this. What do we adjust? What do we add? What do we move? What do we say? Let's put that off till next week. And that's a way to show, because they're going to need that skill, working on the fly and changing things, as much as they need the skill of getting things organized in the first place.
Great. So the last part of a typical EF session or a typical EF program is positive feedback. And the thing is that for a lot of our students and for a lot of our adults, they've experienced so much failure or frustration or just anxiety and depression about trying to be successful or trying to meet a goal, that they've developed this persona of themselves that they may not be good enough or they may not be able to accomplish something. And one of the main goals of an EF coach is through small successful steps to get them to a place where they do feel empowered that they can make something happen. And one of the key differentiating factors to a good EF coach versus a mediocre EF coach is their ability to recognize a student and adult's ability to actually accomplish a specific goal. And if a goal is too big or too hard or maybe sometimes too small, a coach's goal or a coach's role is to take a look at that and either split it up or come up with a different game plan or whatever it is, so that at the end of the day, our students and our adults are able to actually feel successful. And once they get that feeling over and over again, and they watch us model how to plan, watch us model how to break things down, at some point in the program, the goal is for them to take over the planning. The goal is for them to take over the breaking down. Eventually, they become more independent in that fashion, and these are just tools that they can use whenever things blow up and are chaotic and stuff.
Right, and another thing that we want to do also is we try to train the parents and the support system to also acknowledge. One thing that you see a lot with parents is, yeah, but. Because what will happen is students aren't going to have one little area, which is a problem. If they have a genuine EF challenge, it's going to be reflected upon multiple things. And so a parent might say, great, you finished your English paper on time, but your math homework didn't get turned in. It's that yes, but, which can really bring down a student's feeling of accomplishment. So we have to train parents to, yeah, the math is a concern. It has to be addressed. Take a breath. Let the student be successful for a second before you go on to the next thing.
Yeah, and to kind of reinforce that, a lot of the times, part of an EF program and part of the role of EF coach is to really coach and train the support system. So a lot of the times, we are actually the intermediary between the parents, the teachers, and even the therapists at times, where we're really helping them understand the EF challenges that the students are going through, and what is the best way to scaffold and talk to the student in a way that is going to result in a positive reinforcement, positive feedback, versus putting them down, because one of the most common dual diagnoses out there when it comes to EF is also anxiety and depression. So EF a lot of times will lead to anxiety and it will lead to depression, and a lot of that has to do with the existing support system around the student. So one of the other major roles of an EF coach is to be able to facilitate and coach the support system around the student to help the student gain better positive results.
Let me jump in with one thing. I would say that the most significant group that we work with are going to be teenagers, high school students, because I think that's where EF challenges really rise to the fore and you can really see them. And you see a lot of parents who are saying, my kid doesn't care. My kid is just angry. What's an important thing to remember is kids are smart. They know they've got an issue. They know they've got a challenge. They're frustrated. That not caring, that anger is just covering disappointment in themselves, maybe shame, maybe disappointment in disappointing the parent. So it's really, really important to understand that surliness, part of it, yeah, normal teenage angst, but is also covering for feelings of hurt and insecurity, knowing that they have something that's holding them back.
Awesome. So I think that about wraps up kind of what we do as EF coaches. And if you liked what we shared, go ahead and check out the blog that we wrote below and check out our website so you can learn more, or even just, browse around our channel to see if there's anything else that's helpful. Feel free to like, share, subscribe to our channel as well. And thank you guys for your time. We really appreciate you listening and joining in.
And in the spirit of the positive feedback that we do, good job, Dan.
Thanks, Luis.